And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fnatic taking on Edward Gaming, where EDG are 1-0 up over Europe's #1 seed. Going into Game 2, EDG have side selection. They have selected red side, gentlemen, and there are no substitutions.
That makes a lot of sense to me in side selection because it looked like EDG's game plan of being able to free up bans towards the bottom lane came up pretty good in that first game, so no reason to go away from it.
Yeah, also didn't seem to be too scared of the Fnatic Irelia first pick, and they grabbed Xayah Rakan on their side. We could see a change there. I could actually see a Rakan first pick come in for Hylissang. They tried that earlier in the tournament. Bwipo still being in. I think it also makes sense because on blue side, they want to be able to flex some of these different carries, and that's where he brings a lot of value.
To me, it didn't feel like the draft itself was the problem. I thought the decision-making in-game and the fact that Fnatic got ran over by some of those early game decisions by EDG is what started that snowball. So I want to see less mistakes and less punishes on the Fnatic side.
I just want to see whether Fnatic is going to throw the bottom lane a bone because they were stuck underneath turret there the whole time. Bottom lane was lit up like a Christmas tree ward-wide. You could see that they were just able to continually push in and pressure that turret.
Yeah, and I think the decision for Fnatic regarding last draft was not necessarily good or bad, but more high risk, high reward kind of style.
Yep.
If they at least succeeds in the early game with a couple of ganks, we're praising it. We're saying, what a great pick. Anyway, it is not first pick Rakan. It is actually a ban Rakan instead. Understanding that the Xayah Rakan combination was really hard for them to deal with, especially the engages from Meiko.
My question is, what's the difference between that and a Sivir Alistar or even a Xayah Alistar being able to get into the back line? Certainly less lane presence. However, teamfights still will follow a similar course.
I definitely agree that Alistar and teamfights are also insane. I just always feel like the Rakan engages are the fastest. They're the hardest ones to react to in the game because of how quickly his combo comes off, and he can charm knock you up.
And of course, talking about fast combos, LeBlanc. It seems like LeBlancs here in the quarterfinals have just popped off. Multiple mid laners have done so. LeBlanc and Swain, the last two bans.
Yeah, and Swain is a great ban here because that pick was terrifying. Swain is great at one item, is a good laner, and then actually ramps up as attributes more AP, more tankiness, and I think that that is a read from EDG that Bwipo Swain is too damn strong.
We got 3 new bans in this one. Swain banned instead of the Sivir from EDG, so Fnatic can grab that for Rekkles. And then on the side of Fnatic, they didn't ban Talia and Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is now locked in already by iBoy. It is his preferred champion. Could go Alistar with it. That is the golden combination that most teams are looking for a fairly safe laning and then great team fighting.
Yeah, and it's the diversity of the lane, right? You can stand on top of the Kai'Sa, you can headbutt people away, you can pulverize aggressive support picks, and then in the late game team fights, you go aggressive, Kai'Sa can follow up. That double edge, that being able to play on both sides of the matchup.
Now, do we get Xayah or do we get Sivir coming in? I think Sivir is very risky against Alistar because he can always combo you. He will break the spell shield with his headbutt and then knock you up right after, so it could block that pick from Rekkles. The other choice for me would be Tristana and not the Ezreal.
Lucian also on the board here. We've seen how well Sneaky played that in the first best of 3 of the day. Paired with something like a Braum, normally a defensive support can be rather aggressive, and you can see the fact that Alistar cannot go aggro in that matchup whatsoever.
Well, knowing Rekkles, I would be surprised to see the Lucian. We'll find out in Phase 2 what direction it goes. It's going to be the Xin Zhao. There's a takeaway from Haro, and it is one of the popular junglers currently.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the best junglers to pick, especially in this meta with all the early fights. It's great on stage because it's really hard to lose skirmishes. You can barely miss anything because you just charge in and deal so much upfront damage. So it's a good pick, and one Broxah showed up on already.
And I think now, if they do go Galio, which they will, they must ban Camille on the side of Fnatic, in my opinion. We've seen how willing EDG is to fight. We've seen the ability to do it at such a quick turnaround. That would be a dangerous combo.
Also Nocturne. Like Nocturne, Galio, Alistar, that's too much. You cannot deal with that properly. Definitely want to see that banned away. You get your Camille already. Let's see if I get my Nocturne as well.
Because the one thing I will say is, once again, if Fnatic are in a gambling mood to Fischio, if they think this time it's going to land on red, you land it up and you just trust that Broxah is the better early game jungler and he's going to get more done before 6. Because there is a huge window right now that you play around with Nocturne. If he gets there uncontested, it will be danger, but you also alleviate some pressure from the lanes.
Well, let's find out what the last ban from Fnatic will be. Ornn is denied from Bwipo, one of his very impactful picks. He's definitely showed up this tournament already. Talia still open and available as well. Now that Nocturne's off the table, Haro has played that this tournament already. We'll see which direction he's going to go.
And I think we might see a Sion pick here, because this would allow a beefy front line. When you're playing Kai'Sa, you only need one carry comp. And I think that that is a direction where EDG then just set up the front line and say, Rekkles, you're going to have to play a hyper carry and go toe-to-toe in lane.
We do get Hylissang right here. Broxah is obviously the guy who showed up big time on his champion in groups, so he valued this in Zhao early on his side, and Haro will try and match him now.
And I think showed up big time is actually an understatement. Broxah had a performance on Hylissang where if you were watching that, you go away, you buy the champion, you buy the skin, and you become a lifetime Hylissang player because he put on a clinic.
Oh, we get this Sivir. We mentioned it as an option, but again, it is very hard to play against Alistar. He's able to combo towards you. You don't have a dash to get out of it. Fnatic right now have a lot of physical damage as well on their side. Of course, Irelia will bring in some magic damage as well, but Cho'Gath top lane would then also be a bit... Oh, is this Viktor? Top or mid? We don't know yet.
Where would you like to see it? I guess the last pick here for Ray will be the final signal. In what direction would you like to see it go?
And I think that against Galio, it would have a fairly neutral lane, so I think they've actually covered both bases here. In saying that, once again, if you get something like a Kled, it is a fairly aggressive lane for Haro to play towards.
We can definitely assume that in the last couple of days, some of the scrims between the teams, Viktor has been featured quite a bit. Keen showed it earlier today twice against Aatrox. Now it is picked by Fnatic. It looks like a Shen top lane on the other side. In this case here, if you do put Viktor top, it's a lane he can definitely push in over and over.
All right, so Viktor into melee tops. That is a good matchup. It's part of the reason we think that the champion works very well. Edward Gaming have gone for that sort of single carry style composition. 2.5 tanks and Hylissang for setup, and it's all going to be about iBoy. If he can be unlocked, EDG are going to have a lot of team fight later.
And I want to see how they navigate this 2v2 top lane. Because if you've got Scout at level 6 being able to push out, being able to roam up there, as well as a Hylissang Shen, that is a very hard 2v2, I think, for Zhao to be a good participant in, just because of the Spirit's Refuge. So pressure right now on Broxah to continue his form.
Yeah, but also pressure on Fnatic's bot lane. Because with the Shen top, with the Galio mid, they're really telling me on the side of EDG, it's the classic LPL style from them, it's go bot lane. And as I keep saying it, but this Sivir cannot defend herself against an Alistar.
Well, let's see what Rekkles can do. He's currently 2-0 on Sivir. He's currently unkilled on Sivir. And he's going up against iBoy's Kai'Sa, which he has played 7 times since play-ins, only lost 1 single game. Fnatic are down 0-1, and this was one of the pre-tournament frames. This was the best in the West. This is the team that everybody was looking at now that KT and RNG were eliminated to win the whole thing. And this is the game where you earn that praise. This is where you prove your quality after being smashed in game 1, that you can bounce back, you will not have broken mental, and you'll live up to the expectations. Love listening to the fan chants. LPL fans getting behind EDG. A little bit less excitement for the Fnatic, but it is building. It is developing. And right now, the Fnatic fans and EDG fans will be paying attention to this early game. I feel like it should be a little bit slower than the previous game. And that might...
Well, level 1, you might get some action right here as they're moving in, forcing iBoy out for now. We actually had Bwipo bot side with the Viktor, but looking at Fnatic's composition, it's not the Ezreal from last time, but still the Sivir Braum is normally considered a very passive, safe lane where you can push, but you don't necessarily look for a lot of early game kills. For Broxah, instead, around mid lane is where we might see a lot of action.
Well, so much for my shenanigans.
We're definitely going to get action around mid now.
1 minute, 5 seconds, Scout's already down a flash.
Yeah, absolutely, and bone plating broken as well. See whether he can be aggressive at all in this lane, because one of the things about Irelia is her level 2 and level 3 all-ins become pretty potent. However, without Ignite this time, having to run the cleanse, you would think that would be a safer laning phase. Not going to be the case without flash.
Capsa, yeah, taking the safe choice. After going 0-5 in the last game, really rough start, was super aggressive in his early laning phase and got punished for it multiple times, and that is sometimes what we get from Caps, a little bit like with Scout last year, where your highs are fantastic and everyone will praise you for them, but your lows, 0-5 Irelia.
Yeah, he was 0-3 by 15 minutes. It was the most deaths that Caps had conceded at Worlds 2018. You can see a better performance here for the mid laner for Fnatic. Hylissang and Rekkles currently pushing fairly far forward. They should win the race here to level 2. iBoy and Meiko, they're starting to back out.
And we see this path a lot now from Broxah. A lot of junglers have done it during Worlds. They take their own red buff, and then if they have a pushing bot laner, they take the path around the bot lane into the enemy blue buff. Caps will get a bit of a trade in the mid lane, but Scout ends up winning out with the aftershock.
Yeah, and I think the Scout right now just letting himself be pushed in. Smart call. Caps, however, gets it to the turret. You can see that Scout was actually trying to flash.
That's what you gotta do, because Hylissang is not here, and you cannot spell shield a combo.
But don't be there then.
Yeah. I'm just saying, once you're there and you made that mistake, that's what you gotta do.
Wow, respect flash from Bwipo.
You are
as well.
correct. Don't be there.
Ray actually just missed his combo. Spawning forward, flashing on the spot afterwards, it looked like.
No one wants flash in this game. They learned from Hylissang last game.
And that just makes it all the more juicy for Haro and Broxah, both of who have not expended their flashes yet, and there are multiple juicy targets across the lanes. Haro will still be lingering around this top lane, but Bwipo's ward will spot him, so a little bit of information gain.
And that was a risky play out of Haro, because you can see that Ray was stacking the wave up, wasn't trimming it at all, and that allowed Broxah to go to his blue buff, back across the map and regain control of his blue buff again. So that is now a 3 buff set up for the jungler of Fnatic.
So nice here for Broxah, but down in the bottom lane, as you highlighted, Spawn, Rekkles obviously should not be in a situation where he needs to flash if his support is roaming. And that now sets up a potential gank against this Sivir. If Haro finds his way down, Scout and Ray will get level 6 before the flash is ready again for Rekkles. Haro is now back top lane against the no-flash Viktor. Can Ray get in range with the taunt?
All right, let's keep a close eye on how this plays out, because there is enough CC to get through Bwipo, especially if he pushes forward. Bwipo, very, very renowned for playing forward, contesting every CS, potentially overextending, and this time around he's not punished.
But this is why Bwipo has impressed me so much, because this is a lane where you can spell fling under turret, you can put so much pressure on Shen, no AoE wave clear. However, that wave is pushing back. He's standing off it, he's looking for chip damage, continuing pressure, but making himself immune from those ganks.
And 4.5 minutes in, the tempo of this game tried to start much like game number 1.
Yeah.
But no kills have landed yet. But we have seen multiple attempts, right? And we continue to see just how impactful these early game decisions are. And unlike the previous game, EDG do not have a 1,000 gold lead.
And the other difference in this game is Broxah actually has an experience lead. Goes back, gets red smite. If he continues to race to level 6 and he wants to start running into Haro, then that experience lead comes up trumps in the jungle position. We'll see whether he can keep the pace.
It's actually insane how safe Bwipo is trying to play top. He's so scared of pushing this lane, as you highlighted before he has spawned. And it means that Ray gets just free time to keep last hitting these minions. Bwipo knows the wave is pushing towards him, and then he will be fine without his flash, because his jungler is looking bot side. Same thing for Haro here. So everyone is now focusing around 280 carry spot.
Yeah, of course, it's a 10 CS advantage for Ray over Bwipo. Thanks to that very early invade, Broxah's going to show down bottom and clear out this control ward. Hilly feeling a little bit more brazen, pushing forward as Caps makes his way down as well.
And Fnatic take their window to get bottom side control, because you can see Ray about to get level 6, Scout in the same position. So this is probably the last time they can get control of this area.
Oh, iBoy.
Let's find out whether or not there's any trouble. That's a flash engage, remember, no flash for Rekkles. He's trying to escape with his life, but there's no follow-up from EDG. Meiko went just a little bit early. Maybe. Here comes Haro. Sonic Wave comes in. I think it was body blocked by Hylissang. Broxah's potentially going to turn around, and nothing yet.
One of the most important things in the world's meta is synergy when you're starting fights. Everyone on the same page. Not the case here for EDG. Meiko calls, I can get the combo on Rekkles. Haro could have flash followed him instantly, but didn't do it. He tried to get in range. Not enough time, Rekkles stayed alive, and now bot lane.
It's the LPL special party in the bottom lane, and everybody's invited. Here comes Scout. Hilly's trying to get back to the tower. He gets taken out. First blood for Haro. Stands United, channeled and used by Ray. Now Broxah's a juicy target. This is a 5-on-1 as Broxah's waiting for support. Captain Rekkles make their way up. Very good flash from Broxah. Gets out of range of the taunt. The chase isn't done yet. Justice Punch used there by Scout, trying to chase down Broxah. He's going to get caught. The Tempest, the Cripple, the Slow, the Red, the Kick. wins the war, not enough, and iBoy's on the board. 2 kills to EDG.
And the Scuttle Crab comes up MVP. It looked like he was out, but they had taken it 45 seconds earlier, and they're able to pick up their second kill.
And we said as soon as Shen ulti is ready, we can get a play bot lane. It was not against the Sivir, but instead against the Braum, because Hylissang was the man in the front. Instantly, they jump him. They know the tower dive is safe due to all the great ultis coming in. And Broxah, yeah, he's running, he's buying time, but he's not killing anyone.
And the difference between a safe turret dive and a botched turret dive is decision making. Go as a unit, everyone get under there. Because if you hesitate, we've seen so many of them turn to disaster. Early Shen ultimate, Galio already on the play, well executed dive from EDG.
And it's iBoy picking up the first kill for himself here with the Kai'Sa. That is the pick we have seen so often. The moment you get to 2 items and you force team fights, she's scary.
And of course, once again, you see Haro coming up huge. Second game in a row, early game impact is felt. It's the reason that he's starting over Clearlove, and it's the reason that EDG have another advantage. We caught a glimpse of Broxah, Caps, I misspoke, making his way to the top lane. Ultimate is available for Irelia, but they don't want to go for the dive, and it just fizzles.
And Spirit Refuge still available, just means that Irelia getting underneath that, as well as Galio ultimate, if they want to get up into the top lane. They even have a teleport. I mean, just so many tools at that stage of the game to repel.
Yeah, and that's where Fnatic now are kind of stuck in a rough situation where they need to decide, where do we focus our attention with Broxah? Bot lane is really difficult with the Sivir Braum, but there is a chance against no flash on Meiko. But then you again have to respect Shen ulti, Galio ulti, all these tools to come in and stop you. And going mid seems like the more obvious answer when you have Irelia, but that's cleanse Irelia, and Scout is already building Ninja Tabby. So it's actually very difficult for Fnatic to find a lane to snowball in the early game.
Well, there is one advantage for Fnatic. They are keeping close gold-wise. Some CS advantages for top and middle mean it's touching distance, but EDG have got the first Infernal, and they're the ones making the first moves.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the top lane though, because that is the lane where Fnatic will get further and further ahead, but not through ganks necessarily, just perma pushing by Bwipo, and eventually he takes down the turret. Will take some time. EDG will have enough time to actually pull off another play bot lane with the Shen. But that's kind of thing for Fnatic at the moment. They're kind of waiting for lanes to win on their own.
And I think the problem is, and we've hit on it so much, is that in the 1v1 versus the 2v2, advantages top lane mean that you get ahead in a side lane, you continue your split push. Everyone else has to play so controlled. Well, against Kai'Sa Alistar, that job is incredibly difficult. If they open up the map, they can continue to force fights.
All right, Rekkles has flash available. Hylissang does not. Rekkles throws down the ult, and Hilly may be conceding his life. Throws up the vault door, and the minion wave will die shortly, but he's just looking to buy some time. No access to the ultimate. Very good sonic wave there from Haro. The kill will be donated over to Scout. Just wait again. Makes it look easy.
And EDG, they love this strategy. Just go bot lane every single time. For Scoring told me before the tournament, at 9 minutes, EDG wants to take the bot lane turret. And this is now 9 minutes, 55 seconds, so it counts in this case. They almost got the turret. They did get a kill as well. Meanwhile, top lane, Ray and Bwipo fighting.
All right, Bwipo's going to throw down the gravity field. Ray's going to escape for now. Bwipo was taunted under the tower, so he takes a shot to the face. If this fight continues, Scout can join. That's a flash in from Ray. Defensive from Bwipo. And Ray fancies his shots with that Spectre's Cowl.
Yeah, now potentially mid lane as well.
Let's take a look. Where is Haro? The taunt's going to land on the Caps. Caps has got cleanse and flash. Throws down the cleanse. Tries to turn it around, but that's the shorter cooldown summoner spell.
Yeah, Sonic Wave there. Actually, taunt.
Okay, Chaos Storm is available for Bwipo. He may need to use it. Siphon Power Shield will help a little bit. There's the ultimate going to start ticking away. Ray is going to win this 1v1. Bwipo's running for his life. Siphon Power buys some time. Not enough, and Ray gets a solo.
What do you do when your one winning lane is now losing?
While you win other lanes, stand united into taunt, into Galio ultimate. Caps is the target, and can he get anything? The flawless duet stun turns it around. Caps with the outplay.
In the end, it's an outplay from Caps that gets Fnatic a little bit back in this game, but before that, Ray, the guy who TP'd down bottom lane, fell behind in CS, solo kills the last pick, Viktor from Fnatic. See what happens now, another fight.
All right, a little bit of an engage here as Meiko does get the pulverized down. Hylissang has now joined the fray, access to the ultimate. Scout is the target. He's taken down by Hilly. Caps is trying to escape and no further action.
And we know, when Fnatic are behind, they send Hylissang and Broxah to the mid lane, and they try and get some kills for Caps. They got him an assist here. He picked up a kill himself before.
And it is still a huge gold lead. for the mid laner because you can see he's up 30 CS, he got the kill. This is the top lane. Already Ray had forced the flash out. Bwipo didn't go back to base even though the lane was pushing into him, and this allowed Ray to just continually fight.
He knows he's tanky enough to take all the damage and the minions hitting him, but Caps in that mid lane after Scout roamed to bot lane the second time. Caps got a lot of farm, got a level advantage as well. And this fight, it actually looked like they were gonna get him, but Haro didn't actually manage to connect his Q, and in the end, Caps had enough HP to kill Ray.
It felt like that's the first Sonic wave that Haro's not found. And just before we went into the replay spawn, you were talking about the CS differences. Plus 40 for Rekkles, plus 20 for Bwipo, and it's minus 10 in the bottom lane. Sorry, it's plus 40 for Caps, not Rekkles. I misspoke there. But because of those CS numbers, because of the kills, Fnatic are in fact up 700 gold, and there might be a trade of towers. Ray may lose his, or Fnatic may lose theirs.
And this is what happens when you play so heavily towards one side of the map. At a certain point, they do get enough items to fight back in other areas. You can see that is going to be potentially mid lane.
All right, Haro's going to be using the Dragon's Rage for safety. Caps, no flash available. He's not going to be able to chase further.
It is pretty funny though, the first time EDG try and ulti towards mid lane, they lose 2 kills.
Yeah.
It very much spells it out. Go bot lane, that's where you're strong right now. Ray also feels good in the 1v1 at the moment. They'll take a bit of damage on the way out. Has Tiamat as well now to match the push a bit from Bwipo. His turret is low, so Fnatic knows if the Shen ulti's away, Bwipo can stay top and take turret. So you always get something there. Problem is, how much do you lose bot side? Because this turret down behind Rekkles and Hylissang is very low already.
And I think EDG can just hold waves for a minute. Wait for it to be a turret as well as an Infernal Dragon. Stack up another couple of those objectives. Potential dive mid lane.
All right, there goes the ultimate out of Irelia. Here comes Broxah as well. Scout with a pretty good taunt right underneath. Throws out the ultimate of himself, and eventually Scout goes down. Caps and Broxah took a very long time. The cost is the bottom turret as Haro shows up, and Tower First Blood bonus goes to EDG.
But it's once again, go mid lane for Fnatic. Get this Irelia further and further ahead. Scout roaming away from the lane was big for Caps himself in the 1v1. And now, with some help, he's picked up a kill and 2 assists.
Okay, I'm starting to feel the tension building in this game. As we're getting close to 15 minutes, and Fnatic will even the towers. Let's look for the next 10 minutes. Which team composition is going to have more tools to make plays from the 15 to 25 minute mark?
And I think that at this stage, you have to point towards how easy it is for EDG to just dive onto the backline and try and make a 5v5 turret. In saying that, Bwipo is starting to become very annoying in the side lane. He's just picked up an Iceborne Gauntlet. He's got himself that 40% cooldown reduction. Should just be able to split push for days.
Well, yeah, we know if he goes for Iceborne Gauntlet build, he's going to be a split pusher, as you just highlighted right there. Caps wants to be on the other side. See what happens around this Drake before we talk more about compositions.
All right, Meiko is going to be looking for the initiation. Stand United has come down, and Hylissang throws out the Fisher. Sonic Wave connects, and now Haro jumps into the front, throws down the Killer Instinct. It's a 1-for-1 as top of support has traded. Haro escapes with his life, and iBoy is being run down by Broxah. A stun onto Ray, sets up another kill for Fnatic, as Scout is underneath the tower. It's a triple kill for Zhao, and it's Caps that gets a double for the ace.
What a huge fight here for Fnatic. EDG, they thought they had the perfect engage because they got onto the Viktor. They used so many abilities to kill him. But remember, this is the tank Viktor. He's not the main damage dealer. They forgot about Caps and Broxah.
And you can just see, once again, it wasn't all at the same time. Shen ultimate onto Meiko, trying to get the tanks in the backline. They're trying to set up more of the front to back. But they had just taken so much damage beforehand.
Yeah, they do not actually reach anyone in the back. It's just Bwipo in the front and Hylissang. So all the damage used on trying to take him down. But now notice, Broxah comes in from the side untouched. And the rest of Fnatic are just constantly kiting in and out of the fight. Rekkles actually managed to get out in time. And in the end, the bruisers on the side of Fnatic are just not getting targeted. They do not go down at all, and they actually get all the kills.
It felt like this game was balancing on a knife's edge. Fnatic just picked that knife up and stabbed EDG with it. They have a 4,000 gold lead. They now have a tower advantage, and they've picked up the Infernal Drake. So this is exactly what Fnatic wanted to do, and I want to see how they play the 1-3-1. Irelia top, Sivir mid, Viktor bottom.
And you love to see the reaction from Bwipo. Get up out of your chair, pump the team up. Game 1 was ugly, but Game 2, you're getting the ship back on track. And you can just see right now that everything belongs to Fnatic.
But the crazy thing is, if you go back 5 minutes, EDG had all the tools. They were even in mid, and they were winning bot because of all the globals and the Alistar. They were going to get a bot lane turret, then swap Kai'Sa Alistar to the top side, do exactly the same kind of play. Ray even gets a solo kill against the Viktor, but that's when things suddenly start going towards Fnatic, and especially towards Caps. He picks up that one kill in the mid lane where he gets the Shen ulti as well, and the Galio ulti. And the moment that happens, the globals are gone, and Fnatic just start rolling.
Is it fair to say that EDG need to keep iBoy at a safe distance, dishing out damage? We saw once the fight became a little split, iBoy wasn't able to get the autos down, and the Viktor, the Xin, the Irelia, they just ran over the EDG
I think
line.
at this stage of the game, sure. You know, you have to probably play a little bit more like a marksman. However, once 2-3 items come through for the Kai'Sa, she can frontline with a Shen ultimate, with the Galio ultimate. So I think that EDG right now, they've finally done what I expected them to do. Split the map, try and buy time, wave clear, and just match gold at this stage of the game.
Well, it's going to be hard now with the Rift Help bot side as well, but the EDG fight, ideally, because of all the shielding and the safe ulti from Galio they have for iBoy, when he dives in, he barely takes damage. He actually gets to kill a target before dropping low himself, and that's when you have the advantage. You can't really one-shot Caps easily, or Broxah, so it's Bwipo or Rekkles, ideally. But again, we gotta remember, is this tanky Viktor? So maybe it's honestly just Rekkles they're looking for in these engages.
All right, Rekkles doesn't have flash available. We're getting close to 20 minutes in Baron. We saw the Rift Herald dropped in the bottom lane, got 1.5 towers worth of HP and that control ward. There was one in the bottom lane. It has just been replaced by EDG defensive vision on the right-hand quadrant, while Fnatic are pushing their vision line to that inner turret line.
And historically, more than anyone else in the world, 1-3-1 setups have suited EU LCS teams. The Europeans spread the map, force you into bad decision, know their windows where they can look for vision control, and then punish you when you try and take it back. Full control of that right now.
Go back several World Championships, and it was Fnatic that popularized the Assassins in the side lane, some of the classic EU mids. And in a classic matchup with Fnatic versus EDG, I think it is appropriate to remember days gone by.
It's true.
And now it's going to be up to Fnatic to even up the series, because they got obliterated game 1, but they've bounced back. They've got a very strong lead moving into the mid game in game 2.
Yeah, I think most importantly, they bounced back with their jungle and mid duo. Because Caps was completely shut down in the last game. Ended that game 0-5 on the Irelia. Completely different now. Started getting ahead in CS when Scout was roaming, then picked up kills, and now he's super far ahead. If anyone tries to match him in the sideline, he's going to kill them.
In saying that, the easiest way to break a 1-3-1 is to just be able to punch through the center. Level 11 has been achieved from Scout. Level 12 already for Ray. As soon as they have that flash available, they can look to just regroup up and try and regain control.
Gotta be a little careful, because on the flip side, Bwipo, level 13, Caps level 13, advantages to Fnatic. They've got experience, they've got map control for now. Look at the minimap. Caps is pushing top. There's support for Bwipo and bottom, and the 4th tower of the game falls in favor of Fnatic.
And the thing about 1-3-1 is it's not like you don't get windows for plays. It's just that they take so much more if you don't execute on the plays, and you're under high pressure to be able to do so. So they look top lane, they try and get some control. Instead, Fnatic able to take down that bottom turret. One more play on the bottom side of the map, Bwipo's in your base.
And in a full 5 versus 5, if you chase for kills, you normally don't lose anything because all the 5 members from the other team are right in front of you. In a 1-3-1, if you chase for kills, you're most likely losing a turret on inhib somewhere else on the map.
Well, there we go. That's the divisive nature, decisions and cost of repercussions. By the way, look at the goal difference at 20. EDG were up 8,000 in the previous game. They were down 5,000 this time around. And EDG, they still have the ability to wombo combo, but they won't have many opportunities to shoot if they continue to fall behind.
Yeah, this one they're hoping for a chance at Baron. That's always the one where the enemy team is stuck in the Baron pit. You get your Alistar combo in there, Galio ulti fills up the entire area around the Baron, and you hope to get a good setup. But I think one of the most improved things for Fnatic this tournament has been their Barons. They've actually been very, very clean. They've been very good at disengaging Baron when it was too risky and then take the fight instead. So in this game here, they can just show that again, and they should be able to get the objective.
It's also one of the reasons blue side can at times help 1-3-1 teams, because your disengage from Baron is just backwards. It doesn't have to be split and walk back to ramps, which give Wombo combo comps the opportunity to really look for that execution. I also think that, you know, you're an item away from wanting the full 5v5. Sure, you've got the 2 items on your marksman. Actually, they go.
All right, Rekkles actually starts this one off as Broxah goes all the way in, throws down the ultimate. iBoy jumps over the wall to safety, leaves Meiko to his doom. Bwipo and Hylissang are trying to set up more kills. There's a defensive push. Meiko goes down, and Fnatic, they chuck a lot of EDG. They just get the one.
If Fnatic, they know here the Wombo combo only really works if it's EDG starting the fight and reaching the backline on Fnatic's team composition here, but that's not happening when you're the one jumping them.
All right, Baron gets started off as Bwipo is going to get surrounded by 3 members of EDG. Dragon's Rage actually helps Bwipo out. Haro gets taken down and flashes for safety. The Q shield keeps Bwipo alive. Now Ray looking to jump in the pit. There's no smites available. Vanguard's edge gets Caps a rampage. He takes down iBoy. Now Ray gets knocked up by the Baron's anti-kills, and Fnatic are considering another kill. Caps is looking for a little bit more. The BM recall, taunting Scout before he takes him out.
We call that style where I am from, and Caps absolutely styles on the Edward Gaming lineup. They say if they get Baron, the game is over. Well, Fnatic end the game with the Baron.
Listen to the Fnatic chants in Busan. That was a flawless Baron setup. They get themselves 2 more towers. They've got the Baron gold. They've got an 11,000 gold advantage. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands as Fnatic are looking to break open EDG's base.
Oh, EDG, they're hoping to get some sort of fight here, but Fnatic just walk away. They're so far ahead. At this point, it should be impossible for EDG to do anything. You might kill the one guy, but then there's 3-4 other people killing your entire team.
And Bwipo's only job here is to keep Haro away from the pit. So he's chasing him forward. He says, I can get the kill, it might cost me my life. To add insult to injury, the guy then just walks away from 2 members of EDG.
Oh, thank you for laughing at that one. I absolutely love the reaction cam. This is, of course, the Baron going down after Caps jumps into iBoy.
We like them so much, we pause the replay just to show it, and then we go back into the replay to show what happens right after. Caps right here did not misclick his recall. He just wanted to have a bit of fun.
Styling. I like that. I like that. A little bit of style points at the end. Haro jumps away from the engagement from Broxah. And by the way, Bwipo's got the most emotive eyebrows on the planet. Watch it next time you see those replays. Fnatic, they bounce back from game 1. The duality of first pick Irelia. Game 1, 0-3. Non-existent. No way to impact the game because it fell apart around him. This time, 5-0-6. Gigantic CS advantage in 25 minutes. He's one of the tools Fnatic can leverage to win the game.
And we're talking about an 18-year-old that has joined one of the most illustrious organizations globally as their superstar mid laner. Pressure abound for Caps to be able to perform on the world stage. Disappointing first game versus EDG, but to be able to bounce back is massive. Just another one of those Danish mid laners, Deficio, that you keep talking about.
Don't go there. He's a European mid laner. We don't need to give more ego to Denmark.
I want to highlight that I didn't say it, Spawn said it.
Well, let's see whether or not this Danish mid laner can help even up the series. There is the engager. Stand United taunt comes down, and Bwipo's already dead. Rekkles and Caps can still turn this around as the Vanguard's edge disarms members of EDG. They haven't got a kill just yet. Stand United's bought some time. Rekkles with 1, Caps with a 2nd. The minions are making their way to the base, and this will open access to the inhibitor.
We got the combo, but it's too late for EDG. The rest of Fnatic can just take them down right after. Looking for their base now. Haro is here to try and defend with iBoy and Meiko. It's not enough.
There is still 30 seconds on the Baron buff to close out this game. The Baron Empowered Cannon minion is doing a lot of work as Broxah gets kicked backwards by Haro. One Nexus turret has fallen. The second now will be jumped on by Caps and Hilly and the rest of
You
Fnatic.
have to go!
They turn their attention to the Nexus. There's not much time left. A little bit of an engagement. EDG just trying to buy some time. Rekkles goes forward, trying to get the ricochets and the boomerangs as Caps gets a stun from the flawless duet. He stays alive. Broxah stays on the Nexus, and those style points continue to grow. That's a dash, that's a kill, that's 1-1 in the series.
And every now and again, as commentators, we get to sit back and watch a star born on the international stage. And my God, Caps, what a bounce back performance.
The entire turnaround happened around the mid lane.
Yep.
They were getting jumped on bot lane by double globals, Alistar, Kai'Sa, they were losing the turret as well. But when Caps got the first kill mid, and then we got the gank towards it as
Sonic
well.
Wave. How different that game could have been.
Or he can flash the wall.
But exactly the same way. Bottom lane under siege, but this time the top of the map stands tall.
It does indeed. Fnatic even up the series 1-1. We're going to head to the analyst to break down exactly how they did that.
Thank you very much. Quick shot. EDG throws the first punch, and Fnatic throws one back, putting us at 1-1 in the series, very much the way we expected this series to play out. Skirmish heavy, comes down to the fights. Who can perform mechanically better within them or make the better strategic decisions around the map? Let's dive right into this once again with Champion Select, because the development of the meta within this series is very interesting to me. Once again, we see a Viktor coming out in the top lane for Bwipo here on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, someone's got to back down, and I like Fnatic's adaptation of banning specifically LeBlanc, because it made the first pick Irelia incredibly valuable once again, and we got to see the preview of the top lane Viktor in the previous series as a counterpick to Aatrox. I'm super interested that they picked it blind and still had the CS advantage and ultimately got him to his items. So that could be a massive pick in this series as well.
And I think what it provides is flex, right? Because you could also play the Viktor into the Galio, and that's just a neutral lane. It's just farm v farm, and then you can get a more favorable matchup for the Irelia up towards the top side of the map, which Bwipo is more than happy to play. But when they saw the Shen, they were like, you know what? We're fine having this matchup with the Viktor in the top side, and I think it just adds that extra flex value on the blue side.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but for me, while the Viktor was cool, it was really the Zhao that made the biggest difference. The fact that they identified that Broxah got shut out, that he wasn't able to be an early game jungler, and now by giving him the power of the skirmish-oriented jungler, you saw that Haro tried to match it by taking the Lee Sin, but ultimately Broxah was moving faster through the jungle, and he was much more terrifying in his river control.
Now, that said, EDG was very much the aggressors in the early portions of the game when it came to the kills, looking particularly at the bot lane dives.
And when you draft the comp with Galio, Alistar, it's very easy to set up these bot lane plays, and note how every time EDG had a wave, they were more than ready to make this stuff happen. They had the Shen ultimate on top of it too, but the problem with these plays from EDG is that they didn't translate it into an early tower.
I wanted EDG to focus more on turret damage than chasing kills, and I thought Fnatic was actually throwing their bodies at minion waves so that they wouldn't lose that turret before 10 minutes. That kind of bought them enough time so that you could get Viktor to Iceborne Gauntlets, right? So that you could get Irelia to Trinity Force and then ultimately win the Dragon fight.
Because you sent 2 members from mid and top to the bot side of the map twice, and the differential that was developed between Caps and Bwipo against their solo laners was big enough that the deficits they suffered in the bot side of the map weren't that big of a deal and they could compensate.
It reminds me of another EU team that we saw yesterday.
Let's jump 15 minutes into the game for the first big clash between these two teams. Fnatic coming out on top with the 15-minute ace.
For me, all eyes were really on iBoy. He's going to make a critical error in this team fight when he's going to fly into the back line and then immediately get dove on by 3 people. There he goes.
Yeah, but I also like the fact that Caps' positioning in the fight was also really good. The fact that he was able to land a huge Vanguard's edge, the fact that he recognized the positioning of iBoy to then immediately turn it into a punish. Something that Fnatic were praised for in Europe was that they were the best teamfighting league in our region, but it does make it easier when the AD carry closes the gap for you.
Just high-fives him with his face.
I also I mean, it always excites me to see these Fnatic guys play, in particular Bwipo and Broxah, because of, again, their emotional investment in the moment, right? And you can see how this team and those 2 players in particular are catalyzed, right? Yeah. By the success that they found. I think if that fight goes differently, it could spell absolute disaster for the Fnatic squad that's already dropped a game. But getting that ace there, you kind of saw the flame reignite, and they knew they were back in it.
Yeah, series saving in a lot of ways, because if you go down 2-0, we've never had a reverse sweep at the World Championship, but I mean, that's why Fnatic is in the position they're in, is because they can consistently win a lot of the high-pressure moments or the execution-heavy moments. Those team compositions scaled fairly linearly when compared to each other. So that Dragon fight, in a lot of ways, was the game.
Let's take a look at this 23-minute Baron fight. While Fnatic now has an advantage in control of the game, I want to take a look at EDG's essential last stab here.
And this is just incredible by Broxah. Finds them, splits them up, and so much of the resources for Edward Gaming are used just to try to disengage. At this point, Fnatic will then have control over the area, and then Bwipo plays the goalie effectively on this defense. Stands behind, starts zoning people off, and does his job to the Baron setup.
And just look at how many shields this Viktor gets. It's just shield after shield after shield, and you can see that even with only an Iceborne Gauntlet, he has so much survivability. It means that he can just buy enough time for the rest of Fnatic to secure the Baron, and then Caps can just come in for the cleanup on the back end. Really well played there by Bwipo, and it was just the fight they needed to end up closing out the game.
Did we ever get to see what his third and final item was? Was it the Seraphs?
Yeah, it was the Seraphs, but he also had a Negatron cloak. So the thing you want to do with the top lane Viktor, since the shield is based on your AP and your mana pool, you want to, and your levels, you need to stack as many resists as possible. Health isn't actually that big of a thing. It's resist and CDR because the Q cooldown gets super, super low. So that's what he does, and he actually does turn into a like 250 AP tank.
Shield.
And we actually saw this Viktor type build a little bit like 6 months ago in the mid lane. It just took too long to turn on. So I feel like right now with Kleptomancy in the top lane, they're hitting 10,000 gold faster, they're getting the resist, and it looks super effective. I love that a pick from Korean solo queue really just big in the last week or two is now immediately into Worlds.
And while the Viktor is fun to watch, Caps is going to be the one picking up the MasterCard player of the game on that Irelia. Yes, Bwipo did work, but Caps bringing the damage and the carry.
And if you're going to be the priority pick, you better make it stick, and Caps made it stick this time around. Jat, you already highlighted that it was the LeBlanc pick, so deny any sort of skill matchup in the mid lane, and once it was Irelia versus Galio, Caps just popped up.
Yeah, I was impressed with what he was able to do, especially in this outplay. I feel like it was really important in being able to swing the game back in Caps' favor, and we saw how influential he was in a lot of these later game team fights. The final thing I have to say for Fnatic is just that it seems to me that they're drafting a lot more scaling compared to what we've seen from them so far in the group stages, and I'm wondering if they will go back to this early skirmish style, because I don't want to see more play around iBoy all the time from EDG. I think the fact that Scout should be back on a carry. I like the fact that he can work with his jungler more. And I want to see a return of this strong mid-jungle duo, and they're the ones building leads rather than trying to generate leads for iBoy, who I'm actually pretty confident in the 2v2 can just get them himself.
Well, Fnatic back on blue side here in this third game. So if they're going to do it, they're doing it from the same sides. Fnatic brushed off that first loss and swung back in game 2. Time to see if EDG can show similar composure as the series continues.
Party in the bottom lane, and everybody's invited. Here comes Scout. Hilly's trying to get back to the tower. He gets taken out. First blood for Haro. While you win other lanes, stand united into Taunt, into Galio ultimate. Caps is the target, and can he get anything? The flawless duet stun turns it around. Caps with the outplay.
Lee, can we go for Kaiser over the wall?
I think we win.
Kaiser's dead.
Shen. Look. Out.
Dying. Hold shit, base. Nice!
Go.
Dragon's Rage actually helps Bwipo out. Haro gets taken down and flashes for safety. The Q shield. Broxah stays on the Nexus, and those style points continue to grow. That's a dash, that's a kill, that's 1-1 in the series.
Welcome back to Assist of the Week. During the Fnatic and Invictus Gaming tiebreaker match, IG huddled together in a bush to ambush Fnatic. But Fnatic were prepared and got the jump on Invictus Gaming. Bwipo unleashed Call of the Forge God on Duke, allowing Fnatic to secure 2 kills.
Walks away. Now Len the first to fall, making a second as the top laner is dead, and Jackie Love has to run. The Caps buys time. Rookie next to the chopping block. Caps might fall. The shields are on.